Welcome back. Today we're going to finish the Temple of Kilta and stop right before the final dungeon. With the silver key, we can open up this upcoming door. But first, make this guy suffer for his existence. Despite not buffing up, debuffing him did some pretty good damage. Not letting that stand. Surprisingly, even though I wasn't able to see his actual status behind the rafters, I was quite surprised I was able to apply all the debuffs I wanted. However, this one does pack a punch. Despite the debuffs, it's quite beefy. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't feel the need to buff myself up. Still, I smacked the bug out. Just completing map completion, that doesn't matter on this playthrough. This, however, is worth it. Unfortunately, for some reason I was thinking this was the fire elemental. So, I had my setup for water gems rather than pure power. It doesn't matter though. Just enough to top off Magic Ward. Playing a little bit defensively since it's been a while since I'd saved. Nothing particularly great, but more magic points is always worth it. Since now I can safely cast Magic Word 3 times. Back to the Temple of Kiltis. If you're unprepared, you definitely want to brace yourself for this fight. Personally, I consider this a lot worse than the last Crusader, since you've got two completely different enemies to deal with. Separate, they're nothing, but here, combined, they can be a drain on resources. Since they both know magic, they do prevent me from using anything but Magic Word to begin with. So I can't apply debuffs to make the going easier. Definitely need to keep risk down for this fight. And it's either that or toss a mana restorative. But still, you'd have to worry about whiffing on actual damage output. Mercifully, the possessed armor isn't that strong. And now I can actually focus my attention on it. Shockingly, despite pretty good chain of aid, I did get that first hit in. It was mostly just so I could get another shot at absorbing magic points, not actually attempting to do damage. That being said, now I have enough to actually penalize him for existence. In hindsight, probably would have been better to go after him first. At least he would be a magic battery. Now, as you can see, this is another puzzle that can be relatively fiendish. I think I could use a Fairy Wing on this as well, but as I said, there is one fight that you will definitely want it in. This is a nice to have. The goal here will be to get that frictionless cube immediately to the right of those wooden crates. Now what you need to do is get that in mind so that the frictionless cube will have a spot to slide up to. This one, just push forward and then loop it back around. Don't climb on the crate, cube, and don't climb on the wall. And as you can see where you're not done, the room is separated into two different puzzles. Again, everything is just out of reach. Now the goal here will be to get both of these pushable cubes in line with each other, and then shove that wooden crate on top along for the final step. And one more for good measure. I forgot that step. Although I'm not 100% sure if that step was necessary, but just an extra bit of clearance. Here we have a fight that's probably even nastier than the Night Stalker Aqua or Water Elemental attack. Now we've got 3 magic using bastards. Fortunately, since I actually am inclined to punish him for existence, he goes down fast. However, in my eagerness to destroy him, I didn't top off magic. Which means I have to top off my magic on these ones. At least I've got a little bit of damage capable of applying to this one. Definitely can't handle a slow, lower agility for these guys. Unfortunately, that strength buff that I had before they wiped it out was doing quite a bit to make my life easier. Now, despite my frequent hesitance to pile on risk and telling you guys constantly not to do so, I really needed magic points to stop them from ruining my day. While I knock these guys down, I'm going to discuss what is coming up. Got another Korra. I'm strongly considering whether or not I want to make it into another Kopesh and then a Wakizashi. Anyway, as this guy's getting mopped up. Coming up, you will want to dump all of your... You will want to make a weapon as elemental as possible. In my playthrough, since I have 2 Jin Ambers and Sylph whatever, and the associated with fusion, I'm going with that. If you happen to have another Ifrit Carnelian or 3 30-point gems for some affinity, Titan Malachite, doesn't matter. Get it all on your weapon, buff everything up, and proceed to ruin the game. But first, that canker. Still quite odd that they didn't fully art the neck crack in the first fight, but they affected a spitting sound. He is just so full of himself. Worm as you crawl to the dust. Sydney is a slow learner.
Let's give Rosencrantz a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Sydney hasn't lied yet. Well, aside from all the other lies he's done. But he's not going to kill Rosencrantz. Look at that terror in his face. Even though we figured things out quite well, Sydney is still confusing as fuck. You completely wasted your life. Now, as you can see, even we have plenty of targets to go after. This one happens to be weak against wind. Even without that, all the other spots are quite vulnerable too. Kali is not worth much more words than this. Instead, it's far more interesting to see that Sydney is just so much more powerful than, obviously, ourselves, who could not cast magic to save our lives against Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern, who he completely shrugged off his attempts to impress his will on.
Also, this shows that Ashley has gotten considerably stronger than Rosencrantz since he just destroyed something that just took him out in one hit.
Behold the cathedral again. Okay, enough beholding. We're going to do some more stuff. Here we have a little evil dummy. Here we have another silver upgrade. Another couple silver upgrades, that is. The Angel Pearl honestly will not have too much use, but it's still nice to have. Completely ignore this puzzle. It is irrelevant. Finally get a dragon boosting accessory, another fairy wing, so I didn't need to be so miserly before. This is where one of the spots where Hardin was camping out with Merlos and Joshua. We've unlatched the door, so we have a shortcut if we were so inclined not to use teleport, which I have every opinion of doing rather than deal with that. Well, it's a puzzle that can obviously be solved, but why bother? Instead, going to do some minor tweaks. Going to go to one more room before the cathedral and wait for it, make the drumroll ultimate great axe. Plus some other junk, in anticipation of considering making a wakizashi. Anyway, see you next time.